All right, we're here today to talk about how to lose an employee in 30 days. Actually, that's not true. I want to talk about Amazon, Andy, the CEO of Amazon, today or a couple days ago on June 17th, so yesterday, released an article that he had also released internally. And I wanted to talk to you guys today about it because I think it's really important. A lot of people will read this and say it's over for developers. And I think there's a lot of in between the lines reading that I want to give you my perspective as being a person that has been in the industry, has gotten into some of the levels of management where I might understand maybe what they're headed for. I'm going to give you my ideas, thoughts of what Andy might be trying to do in this. And I'll give you my final opinion at the end on whether I would have released something like this to all of my employees. Let's get into it. Today, in virtually every corner of the company, we're using generative AI to make customer lives better and easier. What started as a deep conviction that every customer experience would be reinvented using AI, and that altogether new experiences we've only dreamed of would become possible, is rapidly becoming a reality. I want to challenge this right here. I have not seen anything out of Amazon that has I haven't seen one new experience enabled on Amazon.com. I shop there. That's new and rapidly becoming I just haven't seen this. I haven't seen anything reinvented. I know this is like reinvent it's their keyword. I just haven't seen it from Amazon. To be fair, from Amazon products, I haven't seen it. So, okay, whatever. Technologies like generative AI are rare. They come about once in a lifetime and completely change what's possible for customers and businesses. I also want to disagree with this. I think that maybe we don't know yet. See, the problem here is he's making a future-facing argument as if it was already reality. And I don't love these, especially when you're talking to your employees, because you're making it sound like the future is now. And what I mean by that is, let's talk about computers. Computers have actually been around for a while. We're talking about actually a little while. Now, computers have revolutionized stuff, but it has taken time for it to revolutionize stuff. Generative AI and AI, if we're talking about neural networks have been around since the 80s, I believe it was, 80s. So they've been around for a while. And the thing is, I do think that there's a lot of really good uses for it. But to say that this is a once-in-a-lifetime invention, you really have to wait until the lifetime to really understand the actually true impact. As we've seen it right now, it hasn't been a once-in-a-lifetime impact so far. This is a future-facing, stated as if it's already happened. So we are investing quite extensively, and the progress we are making is evident. I haven't seen this. They have some of the worst AI. Amazon Q is one of the most dented. Sorry for the developers that are working on it. It is absolutely dented. I don't use Amazon Q for just about anything. I have tried to leverage it even for AWS stuff, and it's pretty much atrocious. You can see it in what we're rolling out in Alexa Plus. Okay, I don't use Alexa Plus, so maybe their subscriptions are good. I don't know. Our next generation Alexa personal assistants that meaningfully smarter, more capable, and is the first personal assistant that can take significant actions for customers on top of providing intelligent answers to virtually anything. But I got my AI pen. I don't need anything. I can do it all on my hand. See, look at this. I just ordered pizza. Okay. You can see it with our AI shopping assistant that's been used by tens of millions of customers around the world to discover new products and make more informed purchase decisions. I actually looked for this AI shopping assistant. I have never used it before. Very interesting. I actually had to look, right, AI powered shopping recommendations. I think that's what they mean. It's, they did search. It's okay. You can see an increasing array of shopping features like Lens. Very cool to be able to take a picture of an item and have it pull up a shopping result. Buy For Me, where you can ask our shopping agent to buy an item on another merchant's website. I actually didn't know this part. That scares me. I've never leveraged this. I actually just I don't need to ask somebody, but that's fine. This is actually very interesting. I didn't know this was powered by AI, and I think that this is actually really cool. I don't know that it was you. Like, this seems to me, when you're talking about this, the recommended size, where you can predict the right size based off of prior purchase. This is grouping all statistical analysis as AI. This means Google search has been AI for 20 years. This means that, overgrasping. And I hope that I'm talking to some Amazon employees because I want to give them a little bit of hope here. All right. You can see it in how we're helping our independent sellers more easily create new product detail pages or get advice on how to be even more effective as a seller in our marketplace. This is probably true. Again, super advanced statistical analysis is awesome in this. When you're getting into those types of things, I do think that this could help and be helpful to a lot of people. Nearly 500,000 selling partners are using these services, and the listings they're creating are meaningfully better. I believe this, absolutely. You can see it in advertising, where we've built a suite of AI tools that made it easier for brands to plan, onboard, create, and optimize campaigns. In Q1 alone, over 50,000 advertisers use these capabilities. Okay. You probably could have built non-AI things. Again, I don't know what these tools were, but cool. And you see it where we're delivering in AWS for builders, whether it's custom silicon, or to provide a better price performance on model training and inference services that make it much easier to build foundational models, SageMaker, or leverage learning frontier models and do Gen AI inference at scale, Bedrock, our own frontier model, Nova, to give customers leading intelligence at lower latency and cost. So again, I'm going to argue here, none of this is actually AI. None of this that he's talking about is AI. This is actually just powering other people's AI. This isn't an AI thing doing something. This is hardware that they built. This is a SageMaker, a thing that they did. I guess Nova here, but this is like something they sell. Again, none of this stuff is really changing how people shop, changing how people use Amazon or things like that, or AWS even. We're also using generative AI broadly across our internal organizations. In our fulfillment network, we're using AI to improve inventory placement, demand forecasting, and the efficiency of our robots. Okay, again, a sufficiently advanced statistical analysis machine is going to do these things amazingly. This is why I think it should be in security, where you're looking for anomaly detection. If we're talking about this, anomaly detection has been a thing for a long time and is a thing for AI to do. These are really, really good uses. And I think that perfect. They are probably actually revolutionizing these. We've rebuilt our customer service chatbot with Gen AI. Fine. It still sucks, providing an even better experience than we had before. And we're assembling an intelligent and compelling product detail page for leveraging Gen AI. For this, and the reason I say it still sucks, is I want to talk to you guys about Klarna. Remember, Klarna is classically the company who threw away all of their customer service people and did it all with AI. And 2 years after they started doing this, been all in. These people have to know customer service chatbots because they've literally been driving the technology in the space, started hiring customer service representatives. Why? Because while it's good and it has done it, it is not as good as a human. So even from what I would say the leader in the space, and yes, it could cut jobs and probably should cut jobs in that. It has not completely replaced. But cool. They made their customer service chatbot better. Good. This is like the one Gen AI thing that they've done in this entire list of things. Andy, do better, please. You are the CEO of a huge corporation. When you say how AI has reforecast Gen AI, the first Gen AI thing that you talk about in actuality is this down here. I want people to realize that. This is really the first Gen AI stuff. Let's continue. All right. And we're assembling more. Actually, I'll take that back. I don't know what these tools are. These might be Gen AI. Okay, they might be like helping you write product detail pages or scripts for like. Yeah, I got it. Could be. I don't know what they are. I could go on, but you get the idea. No, please go on. I'd like to actually see the Gen AI stuff. While we made a lot of progress, we're still at the relative beginning. I agree. There were a few reasons we believe this, and we want to go even faster. First, we have strong conviction that AI agents will change how we all work and live. Think of agents as software systems that use AI to perform tasks on behalf of users or other systems. Agents let you tell them what you want, often in natural language, and do things like scour the web and various data sources and summarize results, engage in deep research, write code, find anomalies, highlight interesting insights, translate language and code into other variants, and automate a lot of tasks that consumes our time. Will be billions of these agents across every company and in every imaginable field. There will also be agents that routinely do things for you outside of work, from shopping to travel to daily chores and tasks. Many of these agents have yet to be built, but make no mistake, they're coming and coming fast. This is going into that future speaking where you're stating it like it's true, like it has happened, but it hasn't happened yet. And so there's actually a lot of uncertainty. This is actually Andy's take on the future. And this is fine. I actually think that there's probably a good chance that something like this will exist, at least for some systems. Absolutely. But what that will actually look like, I can tell you the people that created the first computers would have had no idea about a phone. Those things were in rooms. All right. I remember seeing a picture of a stick of 64 kilobytes of memory that was the size of my desk. All right. Those were the first computers. Anyways. Yeah. So I'm sure over the next 100 years, things like this will be out there. Absolutely. Second, and what makes this agentic future so compelling for Amazon is that these agents are going to change the scope and speed at which we can innovate for customers. Agents will allow us to start almost everything from a more advanced starting point. We'll be able to focus less on rote work and more on thinking strategically about how to improve customer experiences and invent new ones. Agents will be teammates that do not call them teammates, Andy. That's just, just don't call them teammates. I'm tired of this. I got to talk to the people making teammates.ai, and I literally was like, some of the worst PR you could do is calling it teammates. That gives me a knee-jerk yuck reaction. Just please. Agents will be teammates that we can call on at various stages of work that will get wiser and more helpful with more experience. If we build and leverage the right agents, it's going to rapidly accelerate our ability to make customers' lives easier and better every day. And it's going to make our jobs even more exciting and fun than they are today. Hopefully. And third, we're going to We're going to keep pushing to operate like the world's largest startup. Customer-assessed, inventive, not initiative, but inventive. But they might take initiative too. Who knows? Fast-moving, lean, scrappy, and full of missionaries trying to build something better for customers and a business that outlasts us all. You will continue to see Steam, and I take action to help us move faster, have more ownership, and invent more easily. AI will be a substantial catalyst here. Today we have 1,000 generative AI services and applications in progress or built. But at our scale, that's a small fraction of what we will ultimately build. We're going to learn. So we haven't even gotten to the controversy part yet. We're getting there. We're going to lean in further in the coming months. We're going to make it much easier to build agents and then build or partner on several new agents across all of our business units and GA areas. As we roll out more generative AI agents, it should change the way our work is done. We will need fewer people in doing some of the jobs that are being done today and more people doing other types of jobs. It's hard to know exactly where this nets out over time, but in the next few years, we expect that there will be a reduce in our total corporate workforce as we get efficiency gains from using AI extensively across the company. Go ahead and send this fragment by fragment gives it more weight than. I think it is important. Gray Hatter, and the only reason I cover this is because people read this and it gives them a sense of doom and gloom. And so I like to put it in perspective of what we've actually seen. You know, when they're up here and they're like, we've already seen AI transform a ton of stuff. And then they talk about how they built SageMaker. It's not. My whole point in going in that is to point out that all the things that they're pointing out weren't actually generative AI. I mean, it wasn't generative AI doing stuff. The only thing that they really pointed out was Alexa Plus, which I've never used. It's interesting. They didn't even talk about Amazon Q because I'm serious. It's even more dented than Gemini. Absolutely more dented than Gemini. And so I think it's really important because they see this and people don't necessarily understand that it's fluff and that type of stuff. They see this and they're like, oh, Bedrock, SageMaker, Nova. Oh my goodness. Look at all the stuff that they've got out there. And so I'm trying to put it somewhat in perspective. Now, I know that if you're an Amazon employee, you understand these things. And for the Amazon employee, I really want to talk about this. What was Andy trying to do when saying this? All right, so this is really where it got people flustered. As we roll out more generative AI agents, it should change the way our work is done. We will need fewer people doing some of the jobs that are being done today and more people doing other types of jobs. It's hard to know exactly where this nets out over time, but in the next few years, we expect that this will reduce our total corporate workforce as we get efficiency gains from using AI extensively across the company. Now, this has a couple oddities. First off, generally, startups work like this. Startups, and he stated previously in this article that they want to work as the world's largest startups. So if you have, if you're talking about revenue over, expenses, we're just going to keep it really easy, really simple. So as your revenue increases, you can increase your expenses. And a lot of times people increase their expenses by hiring people. So if he's really a lot of times startups will actually operate in the red, which means they actually don't have revenue, which means that their expenses far exceed their revenue as they burn through money to try to get something out there. And they try to do it fast enough where they eventually start to get that revenue. Now, I assume that what he would mean is that they want to basically break even, where their expenses meets their revenue, and they match in that way. So if you're really trying to work as the world's largest startup, the more revenue that you make, the more people you would hire, especially if people allow you to expand your service. So this is a little bit of an incongruency here with this, because just because something makes you more efficient and you need fewer people to do it. So let's say in their coding, just writing software, they need 300 people right now. Now, need is very subjective in this case, because how many people do they need to keep the lights on? And how many people do they need to expand their services are very different numbers, right? I'm going to just group them all together because this isn't like a deep dive in the different metrics here. We're just going to leave them all together. But there's a lot of information that goes in here about how many you need. But so let's say that we need 300 people, and then we get efficiencies. And I'll go off of the deep end and say that we get the 100% efficiencies. So we need half of the people that we did to do the same amount of productivity. So that would mean that we only need 150 people after all of those efficiencies, right? Now your company's at a crossroads. What do you do? Well, there are a couple things that you could do here. You could fire 150 people and take that as savings. Now, this, if you're losing money, is a very valid method to save money. This is also a classic thing of big company where they cut the workforce to increase the profits for stakeholders or stocks. So, if you're wanting to pay out a dividend, you decrease the number of people and you kind of try to, operate as efficiently as possible, because then you get to pass that on to your shareholders, right? So this is a valid method, but if you're operating as the world's largest startup, if you get this efficiency and you had something that requires 300 jobs that goes down to 150, and I'm assuming that your revenue is staying still or increasing, you now have freed up 150 people to do something else, to increase your product some other way, to expand upon what you want. So this is the incongruency that I see here. As Andy first said that they're trying to work as the world's largest startup, and then they said that it will reduce their total corporate workforce as they get efficiency gains. This doesn't actually translate, and I believe is probably my biggest problem with this. It means that either he was lying here or he's lying here, unless if he's saying that human work goes to the value of 0, but that's not what he said up here. So it doesn't actually fit. And this is where I was going to talk to you about reading between the lines of large CEOs. Now, I'm not a large CEO. I've never been that. I would never actually do a good job at that role. These people are way smarter than I am. I give them that, at least that much credit. But let's talk about what I've seen a lot of this. Sometimes people will release things like this in an attempt to get people. I had a term for this. It's where you get the people to quit. Let's say you don't want to do layoffs. Layoffs are kind of expensive. If you actually do layoffs, it costs the company severances for a lot of people. So if you're paying severances and it costs you money, if those people just leave, you don't have to pay them severance or any of that type of stuff. It also doesn't hurt your unemployment if you're paying for unemployment. And so it's actually easier if you get people to just quit. You could call this silent layoffs. I don't know. I had a better term that I thought was funnier, and I can't remember it now. But this is one thing that he could be trying to do. He could be trying to get people to just leave. The other thing that he could be doing here is just inadvertent mistake. Like I said, he kind of contradicts himself between this here and this up here. I see this as an incongruency because, again, if you're trying to operate as the world's largest startup, as you get more efficiencies, that lets you leverage those people in different places. I've worked in a few startups, and most startups are trying to hire the people they need. If you look at somebody like OpenAI is now trying to expand as quicker than they originally were. If you're looking at things like that, that's how those people work. That's just my take on this here. He's either trying to get people to quit without laying them off, or he didn't think this message through, which I also don't believe. Today we have, as we roll out, this is where we are. As we go through this transformation together, be curious about AI, educate yourself, attend workshops, and take trainings. Use and experiment with AI whenever you can. Participate in your team's brainstorms. to figure out how to invent for our customers more quickly and expansively, and how to get more done with scrappier teams. When I first started in Amazon in 1997 as an assistant product manager, I worked on leaner teams that got a lot done quickly, where I could have substantial impact. We don't have tools resembling anything like generative AI, but we had uh but we had board remits. We had broad remits, high ambition, and saw the opportunity to improve and invent so many customer experiences. Fast forward 28 years, and the most transformative technology since the internet is here. Those who embrace this change became oh, sorry. Reading is difficult. Those who embrace this change become conversant in AI, help us build and improve our AI capabilities internally, and deliver for customers, will be well positioned to have high impact and help us reinvent the company. They love the word reinvent. I can't blame them. So there's so much more to come with generative AI. I'm energized by our process, excited about our plans ahead, and looking forward to participating with you all as we change what's possible for our customers, partners, and how we work. Have you found a startup? My question is this. Have you found a startup who has ever fired people to get more done? Because that's what he said he was going to do. Now, I do think that there is a broad concept that people are fighting against right now that I don't know that they have a good way of doing it. Andy in this and Mark Zuckerberg have also stated this, where they're trying to flatten the hierarchical structure because Andy, as he mentions here in his thing, back in 1997, back when I was a little child, and the problem that he's running into is back in 1997 when he joined, they didn't have as many constraints. A lot of companies slow down as they have more constraints. What was the cost of an outage in 1997 for Amazon, a bookstore? The cost was probably not nearly as substantial as an outage now. What was the cost of messing up then? So you can move faster when the impact of a failure is worse. Probably a lot of what causes them to go slow is bureaucracy that's been put in place to make sure and prevent something bad from happening. So I think that they're up against these, a rock and a hard place with these, because they're fighting against a lot of what makes them what they are today, right? And this is a problem for all large companies. Now, is it flattening that's going to help? I actually don't think flattening is going to help, because if you're actually raising good leaders, if your directors are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're actually empowering the teams below them. They should be a force to empower them to move faster. And a lot of people are saying that they cause bureaucracy and things like that. If they're actually causing bureaucracy, then your directors are not doing their job. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not empowering the teams. And that's a whole different problem that you have to solve. Now, what about the bureaucracy itself? A lot of the times that's self-inflicted. It's there for a reason. Amazon is HIPAA certified, NIST, I'm sure, SOC 2, SOX. They have all these certifications. These certifications also slow them down. They have government, their government cloud, which has a whole bunch. If you're talking like FedRAMP, it has a whole bunch of things that will also slow you down. These are things that you've taken on to purposefully slow you down. There's not an easy solution to those. And I feel for these people, because I know that they're trying to act like a startup when they've taken on things that are not startup. There's not much you can do about it. Well, I mean, there is. But I'm not sure that they're doing the right thing about it. Anyways, what were your guys' thoughts? Do you think this was a silent firing? Do you think that it was just poorly worded? Again, I don't believe that. Or do you think it was something else?